Welcome to the BMW show. We are here. We are happy. We are alive. How you doing, you mustard asses?
What up, my mustard asses? Welcome to another episode of the greatest show ever. So there's a presidential election afoot. Well, not necessarily this year, but you probably couldn't tell it that it wasn't this year.
Yeah.
Based on with the Democrats and the Republicans lighting up our TV, our social media, our radio, and roadside signs, and all that stuff. But what you probably didn't know is that there's more than two parties within this country. You got the Green Party, you got the Tea Party, you got other far rights, you got other far left, or far rights, far lefts. Then there's the Libertarians. So who are the Libertarians, you might ask? Well, stay tuned. We are going to talk about that. So you might learn something and have a little fun along the way. But before we get into that, I want to make an announcement. So you see two of us are here, two of the members. So you got Nitty and myself, Aaron. So our illustrious third member, Lavelle, he is on his anniversary, third year anniversary in Hawaii. So we want to give a congratulations to Lavelle and Monique Claiborne. 3 years.
Mr. Claiborne.
So a little piece of advice, just remember, you get out of it what you put into it. So just remember that. As for anything in life.
You eat what you sow. You eat what you sow.
Right. So with that, our next episode, I want to announce our next episode last Saturday of next month. That's not more important than this one. This is a good next. Speaking of that, that's him.
Mr. Claiborne.
What's up?
What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all?
It's good to hear from you, sir.
Are you awake there in good old Hawaii?
Yeah, I am a little bit, man. But I got to figure this out because I can't listen to the show because I got an echo, so I got to watch the show. So I'm gonna watch y'all.
All right.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. So hold tight real quick because I'm announcing next show, the October show. So next in October, last weekend in October, Saturday the 28th, we're having a show about censorship. So it's all about censorship, and I'm looking at that I'm pro censorship. But what it is, so we're having a contest. So for the show, we are going to watch our language for the entire show.
Oh my God!
Not so much as a or up, or up, or up, or up, or up. And the entire show.
I don't know if I can do that.
So we're gonna do the
I
entire
don't know if I
show.
can do that.
You want to be completely quiet, Bill.
Fuck y'all.
But in requirement of that, if you're watching us live and we slip and we don't, and you catch us and you make a comment, we will send you a $10 bill.
A $10 bill. No joke.
We want $10 because we want $10 from you. The bill for $10.
That means we got a budget now.
Right?
So that's a budget, people.
So no, so it won't be a gift card. It won't be an American Express card. It won't be a gift certificate. It'll be clean, crisp American dollars you can spend wherever you like.
Greenback dividends, huh?
Yep, $10. And on top of that, we'll do it for the first 3 people.
The first 3 people.
First 3 people that
Comment, let us see it. Chris, $10 bill.
That's right. Yep. So when you comment and we catch it, we'll reach back out to you, get an address, get it to you, $10 bill.
If you've been watching the show, you won't get paid off of me. You better look toward the bill. You're gonna be broke messing with me.
All right. So that's that big announcement. So moving forward, we do have a guest here. So I would like to introduce to you Mr. Larry Turtle Jones. So Larry is a registered libertarian, a former Marine. He likes long walks on the beach, cuddling in the night rain, and is a Pisces. But sorry, ladies, he is married.
He married. Calm down.
So, welcome to the show, Turtle. We call him Turtle. Turtle's his name. It's what he goes by.
Everybody calls me Turtle.
Yeah, call him Turtle. I got something to talk about that my friend, my brother Lavelle usually talks about. I'm gonna bring up a hot topic. Did you guys hear about the rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine in court telling the feds all the street business, but usually in the street we call that snitching. But I'm saying, like, he's terrified. Like, what would you do if you was facing 75 years? You know,
Well, see, in my community, that's just called testify.
Hey, if it was me, and I was facing 75 years and I had nothing to do with it, but that's probably not his situation. Man, I'm not going to jail for no one. I'm sorry, man. I'm not going to jail for no one. But
yeah, I got too much. I agree. I'm not going to jail for nobody, but at the same time, if you go ahead and do what you do, man, why you up there singing like a parrot though? I don't know.
that was crazy. And he telling people that didn't even have nothing to do with the case. It's all over the internet, man. I just don't understand it, man. This guy, he's telling my people that didn't even have nothing to do with the case. Cardi B has nothing to do with the case. Jim Jones definitely don't have nothing to do with the case. What are you telling that for?
Right.
You know, this guy.
Trying to deflect.
What's the owner of the Cowboys have to do with it?
Who?
Jim
It's
Jones?
Jerry.
Oh, Jerry Jones.
This dude got to listen to some rap. I know what I'm gonna give him for his next assignment. Yeah.
I was thinking the guy that gave everybody Kool-Aid back in the 70s.
Oh man. Yeah, man. That was crazy, man. I just don't know what these young guys be thinking of. They really need to think before they make the decisions they make, man. But I'm definitely not. Well, his life should be in danger.
Probably.
His life is in
I think
danger.
so.
You tell on a rich person try to sit in the jail, they probably put some money on your head or something like that. That's called a contract.
Yeah.
Right.
No, we have
Yeah,
We have contracts.
Yeah,
He's so stressed.
It's all
He is so stressed, bro. He in
He's
jail
so
right now.
stressed.
He write down people's names to tell on like rap songs. He probably naming his snitch list. This is called the Cardi B snitch list, man. It's like I really feel bad for him though, man.
So there's one thing to not have to be a snitch. Don't hang around with people you have to snitch on.
That's the best thing. Just
That's really good.
don't put yourself in a position to where you have to snitch.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Hey, when I see 40, I don't do 45. I drive 40. You know, so you gotta don't put yourself in those situations. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But but we're gonna get into the show, man. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the hot topic, which was Tekashi 6ix9ine with the colorful rainbow hair and the tattoos on his face and the snitching lips. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right.
And a guy who calls himself Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Yeah, where the hell did he get that? What is that? Is that? I don't know.
Do you think he's still proud of all his colors and tattoos on his face right now?
I bet his hair ain't rainbow color in jail, is it? You need to try to change that. He's like,
Got the guys walking around going, I'm getting you some sherbet tonight.
I'm getting some sherbet tonight, baby. That's crazy. That's crazy. Man, it's crazy, man. All right, we're gonna get into the show and the ideas and the thoughts of Mr. Turtle. I am blown away by the things I have learned and found out since that I have met him. I want to get into some things. Aaron, you want to start off first? You got some things you want to
Sure. So we're talking about the Libertarian Party. So a little thing, I did, of course, my research as I do as a journalist. But I found there are several countries around the world that invoke the Libertarian Party, everywhere from Argentina to Venezuela. Not that it sounds like around the world.
Well, Venezuela is not a libertarian society. They've actually are a complete socialist society.
Right. But the Libertarian Party exists within that.
Within there.
And I mean, when I say around the world from Argentina to Venezuela, it's not like just South. That's an alphabetical order, not globally ordered, because obviously they're almost right next to each other. So that doesn't make sense. But So, but that includes the United States. The United States has the Libertarian Party. Currently, in the United States, we hold the I'm not a registered Libertarian at this point. I'm actually an independent conservative. Mostly because I didn't know about the Libertarian Party myself.
Is that a new class?
Yeah.
Question: to be a Libertarian, do you have to be registered?
No.
Why are you saying that? Then?
Because you can register to be a Libertarian.
You can register to be a Libertarian.
Yes.
You know, actually,
And
my
I'm-
dad voted. He was a registered Democrat, but he voted Republican every time. And the reason he registered Democrat was so he could try to put the biggest right-wing Democrat in the election.
Sneaky.
His thought was destroy the party from within. That way he'd get to be able to vote in the primaries.
Wow. Good
So
information.
he's a vote against Hillary.
But I am an actual registered Libertarian. So.
Which is why I said that. I'm a registered. I am actually a registered independent conservative. That's what my registration card says. It's independent conservative, which essentially means I can't vote in the primary. That's vote in the
And it's
secondary.
kind of the way the Libertarian Party is. I mean, the primaries are such a minute thing because there's so few that it's being a registered Libertarian. There's really no primary.
Right, but that's only in the state of Arizona. There's several states that no matter what party you are associated to, you can vote in the primaries, but you only one. Like if you're a registered Republican and you vote in the Republican primaries, you can't go to the Democratic primary and vote for there as well. You have to pick. But if you are a registered Republican, you can go and vote in the Democratic primaries, but you have to pick one or the other. But that's in certain states, not in Arizona. Arizona, to be in the primaries, you have to be in the registered party that you're voting on. So with that, in the United States, the Libertarians currently hold 0 seats in the House of Representatives, 0 seats in the Senate, and there have been exactly 0 Libertarian presidents.
That is correct.
So then my first question for you is how can we say the Libertarian Party is a viable option if there has not ever been a representative of us, not even in Congress? In fact, the closest that they've gotten was in 1972 when they first popped up on the scene, and they got exactly 1 vote in the Electoral College and not a vote since.
Well, I mean, that's a valid question. A lot of people ask when you're voting for any third party or fourth, fifth party, is how can you vote for that party when they're not winning elections? But the point is if you don't vote for the party, how are they ever going to win an election? And something that came across for me years ago was the lesser of 2 evils is evil. So I won't pick somebody that is a better candidate than the other. I want the candidate that holds my political viewpoints. So I vote Libertarian, and I don't think that's throwing away my vote. I'm making my statement as this is what I believe. These are the things that I believe in. Now, there haven't been Libertarian congressmen or senators but we have actually had Libertarians that have changed over to the Republican Party and have been elected and have actually voiced their Libertarian opinion in Congress, Senate. Right now we have Senator Rand Paul that's serving in the Senate right now. He is very Libertarian oriented. I mean, he has a lot of Libertarian viewpoints. He's somebody that I would actually probably vote for president if he ran because he is so Libertarian. And his dad, Ron Paul, held a seat for years, and he was a staunch Libertarian, and has gone on to keep, even though he's retired from politics, he's moved on to actually help get the Libertarian voice out there. So.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Cool. I want to get a little bit more human. Like, we kind of jumped into the politics on you. I just want to ask you,
Step back a little bit. Right?
the libertarian was something new to me. I heard it before, but I never got into it like we did for the show. But and I always like finding out your teacher has a husband or that she can have a baby. You know, it's like it was like legendary, like legend like that, right? So I want to get to know you. So I'm saying, like, what do you do in your spare time? Like, do you do just politics? Is that your world, or what do you do?
No, I actually I'm a father. I've got a 9-year-old son.
Cool.
Who's my entire world. Me and him go skateboarding a lot lately. I'm an avid motorcycle rider.
Cool.
Biker. I ride a lot, and I've got a wonderful family. I've got 4 stepkids. My wife, beautiful wife, and basically I spend all my time with my kid, my stepkids, my wife, and that's pretty much. I mean, politics is something that I study and I have a lot of fun with. I love learning, and politics has always kind of driven me since I was in high school. So I've always kind of kept up on politics, and I am very vocal on my politics on like social media and things of that nature.
Right.
But it really doesn't dominate. I try not to let anything but my family dominate my life.
That's cool. Well,
Especially in the bedroom.
so I'm into a lot of soups, right? I like cooking a lot of soups. Like, what's your specialty in the kitchen? Like, what's Turtle's thing? Don't say turtles.
My specialty in the kitchen is to stay out.
I
burn water.
you say burn water.
I can make a mean peanut butter sandwich. So
I can make a fantastic peanut butter sandwich for my children.
Spread it on the bread real good, and put the other piece of bread on, and
Put some cinnamon in the middle there.
That's getting too fancy for me.
That don't sound attractive to me.
Until you try it. Until you try it.
No cinnamon on no peanut butter.
Telling you.
That don't sound. All right. Listen, let's get into some questions that have been on my mind. All right. So this just hypothetical. All right. Candidates have never impressed me with their pitch of healthcare, better taxes, securing me from terrorists. Just say, like, for the first time I'm voting, and there's a libertarian on the ballot. Convince me, just if you could, why would be a great idea to vote for this guy or this young lady?
So the Libertarian Party, your basic philosophy is the Libertarian comes out of liberty, not liberal. That's a big misconception right off the bat.
Right.
So when you vote for a Libertarian candidate, you are going to be voting for lower taxes. You're going to be voting for getting government out of our lives, not government promising you a bunch of things. Libertarian philosophy doesn't believe we should be involved in all these world conflicts that are going on around the world. America shouldn't be the world police department. We should kind of worry about our country and our national interest.
Right.
And if it doesn't hold to our national interest or the effects of our country, then we should stay out of it. We shouldn't be involved. Let that country deal with their own.
It's like having your drunk uncle tell you how big of a fuck up you are.
Exactly.
We're going to these countries, not set ourselves and going, oh, you guys need to live up to our standards. You guys are the drunks.
Exactly.
What the hell are you telling us their standards?
In America's history of supporting we supported the Taliban when they were fighting the Russians in Afghanistan.
Yep.
And we gave them weapons and armed them and built in training and everything else. And then we ditched them.
Right.
Like because when the fall of the Soviet Union came, we ditched them. And then they got mad at us. And now they're all of a sudden our enemy. If we stay out of these foreign conflicts, that doesn't happen. These terrorists aren't bombing Sweden. They're not going to Brazil and blowing things up there.
Right.
It's pretty much America. And that's because we're involved over there. We get involved over there.
Everywhere.
And I was part of the military, and I was involved over there. So, I'm not going to, don't think that I'm like anti-vet or anti, I am definitely not. I just don't think we should be there anymore.
Do you think we would lose our space or position of power in a sense if we had done something like that and pulled from all the other countries and concentrated on home?
You know, as far as losing power in the world, power is a very subjective thing, and do we really need to be the biggest, baddest on the block? Or do we have to be the big bad thug? You know, can't. You know, I just don't think where we rank in the world needs to be on our priority list. I believe we should have a good defense. And I believe that we should be able to fend off anybody in the world. Right. But that doesn't mean we need to go over there and flex our muscles to them at the same time.
Proper self-defense. We should have fair trade. We should have our nose stuck in our own business. Take care of our orphans, our homeless, our vets, and not so much everybody else. I mean, God bless them. Africa is starving and riddled with AIDS, and European, World War II recovery, World War II, and Vietnam and Korea and all that stuff. We have problems on our own soil, and go over there and help everybody's north and south figure out the differences.
And just a side note to that, nobody sits here and goes, why isn't Canada more involved? Why isn't Mexico more involved? Why isn't England more involved? Nobody says those things, right? So why does America have to be the one that's always involved?
Well, that's why Canada's not involved, because we're involved.
Because we're involved,
You think it's a respect thing? You think because like in school, the big tough guy is always be respected and want to be feared by everybody. You think that's America's thing?
He's the bully.
Well, I think that I don't think necessarily we're the. I think I can see us being a bully in some ways, but I think that I think America since World War II, and I think it really happened in World War I, World War II, where we started becoming more involved in foreign affairs. And I'm not saying our involvement in World War II was wrong. We needed to be involved in that. I'm not saying, so don't get it twisted, but at the same point in time, that carried us to Korea, then that carried us to Vietnam, then that carried us to, Grenada we actually had national interest in, then that carried us to Desert Storm, then that carried us to the current Iraqi-Afghanistan conflict. I mean, Somalia, I skipped over Somalia in there. Right? We just seem to be the world's police force. And when some country is trying to work it out within themselves, we end up going over there and saying, no, play nice. Right. And we don't ever seem to take a side that ends up staying in power for very long anyway. So, or the power that we put in ends up getting corrupted as well.
Right. Well, because we put somebody in who thinks we think hold our values when they're just playing face for the moment, and then once they're in power, then they have that empowerment and go, all right, I don't need you anymore. I'm going to run things my way.
Exactly.
Protected.
And again, I'm not saying that America can't be involved in a foreign conflict at all. Okay. We just need to watch what foreign conflicts we're getting involved in.
Right.
Watch the fights that we getting ourselves into. Yeah. Right. Cool. Right.
So I think that's what you'll vote for when you're voting for a libertarian is that lower taxes, no being involved in every foreign conflict.
Sending our troops into things that don't have nothing to really do with us.
And giving people more liberty.
Right.
More liberty in general.
Right.
I mean, what business is it? I love this. We actually 20% or 25% of our population is in prison or has been in prison. Okay, but we're the land of the free. It's 1 in 5 people. The Libertarian Party, another thing that they're very supportive of is you're not going to go to prison over a victimless crime. In other words, a crime needs to have a victim and the victim can't be yourself. Right. Giving yourself the responsibility to make your own decisions so that you can do with your body as you see fit. And the government isn't going to come in and I'm going to save you by putting you in prison for a crime that had no victim at all, except for yourself, and I'm going to ruin your life.
Right.
Forever. Right. Those are the kinds of things that you get with the Libertarian Party, which the Republican Party and the Democrat Party, neither have come out and support.
Like prison is the business.
Exactly. Prison is a business. It's big business.
Well, in your opinion, how could the government, if they could, government make less poverty and have or create more employment if they could?
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed the first. The government make less
poverty.
Make less poverty and more and more jobs. Right. The biggest thing government can do that is to get out. Right. They leave the markets alone, unregulate things. We keep small business down by over-regulating industries, and it leaves very few industry and people capable. So we end up creating these gigantic corporations due to government regulation because they're the only ones that can afford it. It's the same thing with like a minimum wage. You have minimum wage. If we raise minimum wage to $15 an hour, it's not going to hurt Walmart. They're going to lose 0.1% of profit. It's going to kill the little mom and pop's business that's down the street. So the big corporation thrives off of heavy overregulation, while the small business, it kills it and it deteriorates it. So the biggest thing that a government can do is to start deregulating some of these industries and actually stay out of our lives and let us have them more of the power over being able to be more self-sufficient.
Because the government's going to tell you the things that you want to hear. Like you want to hear $15 an hour. Like that's great. I have to work a lifetime to get up to $15 an hour. Well, what you don't understand is you'll get up to that $15 an hour. And everybody's at this $15 an hour right now. So by the end of the week, you're probably going to, at that $15 an hour, you're probably going to see an extra $40. Whereas the government's going to see an extra $150 because the taxes are going to increase.
Taxes are going to increase. And also the cost of living will go up with the basic inflation. If I'm a business and I'm selling whatever it is I sell, I'm going to have to increase the cost of my product to cover the additional labor costs now associated with my business. So you end up making $15 an hour, but yet the whole market inflates and goes up. So it eats your $15 an hour raise.
So that $1.50 you're using to buy a loaf of bread is now $3.
Exactly. And then also on top of that, the person that was making $16 an hour, $17 an hour before is not getting that raise, but he's getting all the inflation that came with it. And so what we end up doing is pushing more people towards the poverty level. So it sounds great, but when you say minimum wage, it's always going to be the minimum wage. So it doesn't matter. Let's make it $100 an hour. It's not going to make any difference. Everything's going to overinflate, and it's going to eat that $100 an hour. Now you need $150 an hour to make a decent living. So increasing minimum wage does nothing. Does nothing. It works in tiny little areas when you sub it down to a little city. Okay. No, you can't. It doesn't create huge inflation when it's done at a city level where our minimum wage is $15 an hour. But as soon as you put it on a national level, nobody can escape it. So it ends up killing our economy. It kills job growth. It kills all that. And then you can statistically look at it. You can find in Washington where Seattle raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour. A lot of people complain that workers got their hours cut. Okay, they didn't lose their jobs, but they got their hours cut. Okay, so they ended up making about the same amount anyways. And it didn't overinflate the area because it was just a small city doing it in a big state where the companies can go, okay, well, you know what, we'll just move to the county next door, make our product there. That way, we're not paying the inflation.
Well, but at the same time, though, look at Amazon. So Amazon actually went to the $15 minimum wage, right? So whether you're
employee shop,
right, whether you're an employee or a contract worker into Amazon, your minimum wage was $15 an hour. Everybody got boosted up to that $15 an hour, except for the people who are already at $15 an hour. Now that person who worked 5, 10, 15 years to make that $15, hopefully they didn't work 15 years to get $15 an hour, but you never know because they started off at 11. I know because I worked at Amazon for a little while, and it was $11 an hour. Mm-hmm. And so if you go based on, let's say $1, you're lucky, you get $1 an hour raise every year, 11, 12, 13, 14. The guy had to work at least 4 years to get that $15 an hour. Now somebody's coming in out of the door, brand new, making the same rate that guy is. And that guy was probably a hard worker getting a $1 hour raise every year. That's a hard worker, right? Now these guys,
so hit it now.
Right. And so now you're making this guy disgruntled because on top of that, so what they had to do to pay to find the revenue to make that $15 an hour available for everybody is they cut down on benefits throughout the board. So people lost their stock option benefits. People lost some free bit, and that's for people who've been working there 5, 10, 15, 20 years to pay this brand new guy coming off the street $15 an hour.
And let me state something too. I'm not opposed to a company paying $15
absolutely.
an hour. What I'm opposed to is the government mandating that a company pays $15 an hour.
I definitely saying
that's a big difference in there too. You know, if everybody started paying the people $15 an hour, but minimum wage was 10, you would see, you know, you're not going to have that overinflation.
Right.
Okay. You're not going to have that inflated, that artificial pop to inflation.
Right. I definitely wasn't saying that as a bash to Amazon. I was just showing the effects of what Amazon did.
I just didn't want to come across as a libertarian.
Right. Exactly. Right.
More money in private industry.
I definitely.
The Libertarian Party wants it. That's what we want.
Right.
We want the private industries to step up. We want the private parties to step up. And you're going to find it's common sense. Okay, if you've got a good employee and you've got good workers, okay, a company is going to want to hold on to that person. Right. Okay. Minimum wage is not going to be something that person is going to live at for a very long time if they're worth anything. Right. Somebody's not working for 15 years for McDonald's and making minimum wage. If they are, well, there's probably something with that employee. Because you work at McDonald's and you're not a manager in 15 years.
There's something wrong with that picture.
There's something wrong with that picture. So, I mean,
and it's not McDonald's.
And that's something people need to look at. Right. We're not going to wave it. The government can't wave a magic wand and fix poverty. If anything, the government can wave a magic wand and get out, and that might fix poverty.
Good answer.
Well, so in a sense, because when we talk about deregulation, we're saying, okay, we got healthcare. So, you know, that's a big problem. Taxes, big problem. But it's a cycle. So if we fix one thing, there's going to be a domino effect on the others. No?
If healthcare is a perfect industry to speak about deregulation in, because it's something that's completely overinflated right now, and a lot of it is government regulation that's overinflating the even just the cost of healthcare. You know, the fact that you have to go see a doctor for when you know your illness, to get the proper medications over-regulation of the industry says, yeah, you've got to go see this guy making $150 an hour to diagnose you with the flu, And I'm not saying there's some cases of the flu where you should go see that doctor for $150 an hour, but
or you have diabetes.
But healthcare is something that is an extremely over-regulated industry, and if we deregulated it a lot, we can make more affordable healthcare. If we got government out, we've got Medicare and Medicaid, which the government comes in and sets prices on what we will pay for services. So if you've got the government saying, we're only going to pay $20,000 for a heart attack, for an example, okay, don't hold me to what these numbers here, they're not their real cost, but let's say $20,000 for a heart attack. They'll only pay that much. So what's a hospital going to charge? $20,000. What's every hospital going to charge? $20,000. So you're not going to get any free market competition in there. You're not going to get this hospital going over here going, hey, wait a minute, I'll charge $15,000 for the heart attack and drop the cost of things to try to compete with this hospital over here who's charging $20,000.
Right.
They're not going to do it because everything's already been set and established by the government with the Medicare and Medicaid pricing. So again, the biggest thing the government can do is deregulate and start getting out of these industries. None of this stuff can happen overnight, by the way. It's not like poof, it's all gone, everything's fixed. It comes in steps. We got to start stepping back, though. We got to scale government back. We can't keep scaling it up, because the more we scale it up, the more it's going to cost. And like Bernie Sanders right now is talking about single payer healthcare. That's the government's going to pay for everybody's healthcare, and you're not going to have any options. You can't even go anywhere else. What do you think that's going to do to the cost? It's going to skyrocket it up. And what do you think that's going to do to the quality? You're going to end up.
In fact, with that, it's also then you will be told where to go for your help.
Exactly. You're going to get told where you can and can't go for your health care.
Right.
There's
can't be treated for.
There's no liberty in that. But Bernie's saying it's free, but it's not free. Okay. I love the quote, free comments from people, because it's not. The expected cost of single payer healthcare in America is $30 trillion on the low end over the next 10 years. That's a $3 trillion increase every year to our national budget. We're already $22 trillion in debt. How can we afford another $3 trillion to our budget? It's just not there. It's not there, people. You're going to pass that on to your kids.
So let's say that the bottle of Excedrin is, the medicine, and every year it goes up. What does it take to keep this bottle of Excedrin from inflating every year? Is it because we have more people being born that need this medicine? Or is it, we don't have a cap, so we can go ahead and just increase the price because I'm all about getting the top dollar for my company, which is going to put me in a position to still keep control over the market in a certain area.
I believe that, like drug companies, when they invent a new drug, okay, they should have the exclusive rights to that drug for a little while. They need to make that, they put money into their marketing and everything else. They should have the exclusive rights to that for a while. But when it comes down to it, it shouldn't be a lifelong commitment. If we allowed Henry Ford to hold the commitment to the automobile back and not allowed anybody else to make an automobile, because Henry Ford didn't invent the automobile, but I'm just using that as an example. When we only had Ford cars out there, they would own the whole market on the car. So what can they charge? They can charge whatever they want. It's the competition being involved that ends up lowering prices. I love using the VCR as an example of how monopolies only keep the amount of the product high. When the VCR first came out, Sony had the exclusive rights to the VCR, and they were like $1,000, $1,200. And this is back in the late 70s, early 80s that they were, that was a huge chunk of change. That was like half the price of an automobile back then, and but when that patent dropped where Sony didn't have the exclusive rights to it anymore, all of a sudden you had GE and Magnavox and everybody else making VCRs. The price dropped almost overnight to being $400, $300, $200. And then next thing you know, everybody had one in their house. And the VCR technology not only dropped in price, but the technology got better. You started getting more features, wireless remotes. You started getting being able to forehead VCRs. You started getting being able to set times and things of that to record these shows and to be present for. It made a better product for a cheaper price. Right. And that's the same thing. That applies to anything in any. It doesn't matter what industry it is. Industry is industry. Competition breeds better pricing and better product, no matter what it is. When you start having a monopoly involved, and the government is a monopoly, when the government owns the monopoly right to an industry, okay, they set the prices. Monopolies only do one thing: make the prices go higher, and the quality will stay the same, if not decrease. Okay, you'll never see an increase. 70% of healthcare breakthroughs are actually made in America. Okay, they're not made in all these foreign countries of single-payer healthcare systems. Okay, because those countries don't breed the technology. They don't breed the. And I'm not saying breed is probably a bad word to use.
That's crazy.
They don't develop it because it's just not in the interest of the country to do so. There's no competition. So biggest thing we can do for any industry is to deregulate, get government out to the smallest size humanly possible, and move forward from there.
Except for cell phones, man. It seems like them damn things keep going up and up and up every damn year. Another model, another model. Everybody buy an iPhone or a Samsung. That seems to be the only two things running the cell phone industry.
But that's because Samsung and iPhone seem to own the market. I've got a Samsung phone, so I can, but I buy into that too. They seem to own the market. But if you look at cell phones is actually a good example too. Look at what's happened with the carriers. The carriers are in a price war with each other. Each one's trying to up their quality. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yep.
And you've gotten even smaller cell phone companies have expanded into bigger networks and more coverage for less money. I mean, 10, 15 years ago, it was unheard of to have an unlimited plan for $40 a month. And now, now if you're paying $40 a month, you could probably shop around and get better.
Right, about $30.
Exactly. So it's, while the cell phones themselves, yes, they've kind of stayed at that steady $600 to $1,200 pace.
But it's not the same cell phone. So you're not buying an iPhone 5 still for $1,000. You're buying an iPhone.
That's a good point.
For $1,000.
So in the car market, you have the Rolls Royce or the Bentley. That's $250,000. But and that's the best of the best. So yes, your iPhones and your high-end Samsungs or whatever brand you want. Yeah, but you can go buy a Galaxy S7, okay, for $400 or $500, okay.
Yeah,
it used to be $1,000.
Samsung, there's still flip phones out there if you just want a cell phone.
And that's true.
Did you say flip phone?
Yeah. I actually have a friend that has a flip phone. He doesn't want to be connected to social media or anything else. He just wants to talk and text, and he's got a flip phone. So I give him props for that. I wish I could get away from my phone more than I.
And now imagine to go put this all in perspective. The government steps in and says everybody has to have a smartphone.
Right.
With the government out of the market right now, look at the cell phone prices. Now the government steps in and says everybody has to have a cell phone. What do you think the price of that cell phone is going to do?
It's going to go up, and it would be
Because now it's no longer a choice.
It's no
now
longer
it's
a
an
choice.
obligation, and they're going to go, yeah, you got to have a smartphone.
And you know, when the government says that they're going to do something for you, you got to think to yourself, you know, what do I really need? What they're saying I have to do?
Right.
You know, do I really need it?
Right.
You know, I'm not saying that there's not good regulation out there, and that there's not, but regulation doesn't allow for free market.
Right.
Okay, it's as easy as that. Our dollars are ourselves, and where we spend our money, okay, is the best regulation of anything. We have the power. If we don't like Walmart, we don't have to shop at Walmart.
Right.
You know, you can go to Target, or you can go to, you know, Kohl's or someplace else and buy your products there.
You can go to Yellowfront.
You can go, exactly. But when you have small markets where you don't have choice, okay, that is 9 times out of 10, that is going to breed higher pricing. And you look at cable. There's a perfect example.
Yep.
Okay, cable company has you. If you live in a market, that cable company has that market, and it's different in every city you go to. Here in Phoenix, we have Cox Communication.
They run it.
And they run the industry here. There is no competitor for them. So what happens? Pricing has steadily gone up and up and up. Have their services really gone up all that much? Yeah, they've got some fancy little things that they add to their services.
Gigabytes and all that, but I mean, what they call it? Gigablast?
Gigablast.
You know, they basically just adapted Alexa into their service, and it's the same thing that you would get with an Alexa. So they've got the market cornered. So their quality doesn't cost is decent service. I've got, but I pay out. It's insane how much money that they charge for their service. But I have nowhere else to go to. If I want cable, high-speed internet, I have to go to Cox. And, you know, if I want cable television, not a satellite, I have to go to Cox.
Yeah.
If Cox had competitors here in town, they would have to cut their rates in half to compete
You know
with
what
them.
they want to do? I just bought a house, and let me tell you, they told me I couldn't get nothing but Cox over there.
Right.
They told me I couldn't get nothing but Cox, not CenturyLink, nobody. Then the prices, I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, no, hey, I'm in agreement with you. I think that there should be every cable TV company, and they've actually, this is documented, how they actually conspired to divvy up the country into their little sections and have monopolies in certain specific cities.
Yes, because for instance, Xfinity service, you know, it's back east. I've been trying to get Xfinity out here in, you know, Arizona.
You can't.
Right over the
It's
top.
not their market.
In
Yeah.
certain areas, you're like, hey, do you have CenturyLink? Nope, we only got Cox. You're like, that's funny. You know, so I see that example right there when they say, okay, you only have certain services in certain part of town. Why is it that the cell tower is used by everybody, but why is it we only have, you know, this one service out here? So, you know, that is a blatant example right there.
It's over in Europe. They ended up deregulating the cable companies over there, and it has been found that pricing has dropped tremendously amongst cable pricing for customers. They're getting like our $100 service over there for like $35 a month, like high-speed internet. Because
I wish I had a $35.
There's a market, there's a competitive market in place, so they can't over gouge the customer. But when the customer only has one choice,
It's not hot.
So
choice is good.
So for everybody watching out there, so you guys are going, well, why are they talking all this jibber jabber, cell phones? So this is the libertarian mindset, right? It's about free market. It's about free liberty. It's about self-choice. So even though it's a bit off topic, so let's really jump back into that actual libertarian party and talk. So people out there saying like, well, I still don't see, because the Republicans and the Democrats still have such high voter turnout that I said it, I think last episode when I said I voted for Trump, one to deflect on Hillary, and two, I didn't want to throw my vote away, so to speak, and have something might go toward Hillary. But you might be thinking that, about the vote for the Libertarian Party is a throwing the vote away. So I did some good number crunching as I do on some of these shows. So in the mid 2017, it was tallied up that there were a little over 500,000 registered libertarians. Okay, keep that number in mind.
Small number.
That's a small. Okay, keep that number in mind. Okay. However, in this last election, Gary Johnson received almost 5 million popular votes. So that's 100 times the number of registered voters voting for the presidential candidate. So that's fairly impressive. There's not another one of any other of the.
I voted for Gary Johnson.
Yeah, the other parties can say that they've gotten 5 times, well, without critically doing so, saying they've gotten 5 times the amount of votes than registered voters in their parties. I'm sure the Democrats do, because a lot of dead people vote Democrat. As well as House of Representatives throughout the country, 2017, received. This is nationwide, because it's House of Representatives voted by district, but the House of Representatives received over 750,000 separate Libertarian Party votes, and Senate got 570,000 Senate votes. And there's not. Well, I said, there's 500.
There's only 500,000 of us nationwide.
They can't all be voting for one set of senators, because you can only vote within your state district for senator as well as representative. So there's a large number and an increasing number, without being a registered libertarian, of libertarian votes. So you continue to vote, the Libertarian Party is going to get its recognition.
And all that has been done without us being able to be included in the debates.
Correct.
I mean, you have national debates. We had a candidate in 2016 against Trump and Hillary. Okay, we had a candidate that was on the ballot in all 50 states and was not allowed in the debates. Was not allowed. It's not that our candidate didn't want to go on to the debate. Mm-hmm. Our candidate wasn't allowed to be in the debate.
Blackballed.
He was blackballed from the debate. So
that's scary.
That's a scary thought. I mean,
That's scary.
I don't want to put conspiracy theories out there per se, but I mean, think about a party that is in all 50 states not being allowed in a national debate, where people didn't even understand what the man stood for. Okay, I'm not saying you would have voted for him if he was in the debate. Okay, but he should be allowed to debate his fellow candidates. Right. The libertarian philosophy, I guarantee our numbers are increasing, just like that goes to show. Okay, those numbers go to show, and a lot of people don't change their registration,
right? Yeah,
on their vote just because they changed their political philosophy. And you have right now, I'm not trying but the Democrats are running on pretty much a socialist campaign right now. And I mean, I think even a lot of people that are Democrats aren't necessarily supportive of, single payer healthcare. Let's disarm America. Let's give everybody free education, all this stuff. So I think that you're finding a lot of people that are just not supportive of what the Democrat Party is stating, but they're not ready to leave the Democrat Party or leave the Republican Party. There's a lot of Republicans out there that aren't let's put up a border around our country, and let's, I like to call the Republican Party the party of smaller big government. While the Democrat Party is the party of big government, the Republican Party is the party of smaller big government. I mean, they're both big government parties.
Okay. So you might be out there thinking, well, okay, so he was on the ballot in all 50 states. It was probably the first time he did it. Well, no, actually, it was not. In the last 12 presidential elections, the Libertarian was on the ballot for all 50 states 5 of the times. Like, oh, well, that's less than half. Yeah, that's true. It's less than half. They were also, let's see, but they were less than 40. That's less than 40 twice. Once was in 1972 when they were only in 2. And imagine that's the 1 year they actually got 1 electoral vote. When they were only on 2 state ballots for presidents, they got an electoral vote.
We got an electoral vote.
And that's huge. That's a huge deal.
Huge.
You have no idea. Okay, and the other time was in 1982. But since then, all the remaining times, 4 times, they have been on 45 to 48 state ballots. So 9 times they have been 45 to 50 states. That's 9 times. That's 75%. They have been on almost every state ballot for president. That's a huge accomplishment for only being around since 1972.
And we've never been allowed in the national debates. I just want to put that out there because that is important. Okay, there's a whole political ideology that is being excluded from America by our national debate system. So, I mean, I'm not trying to be, as I said,
they let you in the club, they let you in the house, but they're not going to let you up to the podium and speak. So it's like, okay, we bring you in so we can look good and face value. Everybody's here. Yeah, we don't have a problem, but at the same time, we're not going to let you speak.
Or maybe they're looking like Turtle Dad did, like for insight. I'm steady thinking how the Libertarians feel about government. To have one in government, what would happen?
Well, you get a situation like you have with Rand Paul.
I'm talking letting everyone know about liberty. You know what I'm saying? It's like to open people's eyes. That's what I see happen. Like people's eyes would be open, and that's scary. I'm trying to think. That's keep them out of debate. That's like
right. And the last thing our government wants to be done is for you to understand your liberties.
Oh yeah. That's the last thing.
That is so wrong.
The last thing
that
our
is so
government
wrong.
wants.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, why would they allow that?
Right.
They're like, tell the secrets. He gonna know the rules, the truth.
Remember, people, the Constitution was written not to protect me from him, or me from you. The Constitution was protected to protect us from the government.
Right.
Okay? Has nothing to do with me versus Aaron.
Right.
Okay? Has nothing to do with that.
Right.
It has everything to do with me versus the government. The government cannot do this to us.
And not vice versa, not the government protecting itself from the people.
Exactly that too. It's not meant to limit. It's meant to limit the government's power. Okay? The Constitution was handcuffs for politicians. That's what it was put in for. Okay?
True.
And while the Constitution, jump on this real quick, because I've got a term that I like to say is MAG. Because Trump's got MAGA, Make America Great Again. Well, America hasn't always been great if we look at our history, okay? And I'm not saying that we're not the greatest country in the world and blah, blah. I'm not saying that at all, okay? But we've had some real evil stuff in our history that can't be overlooked. Slavery, what we've done to the Native Americans, women's suffrage movement, civil rights, everything. So we've had a dark history, okay? Economically, though, we were thriving in the 1800s and the early 1900s. So I don't like to say make America great again. I like to say make America great. because the Libertarian Party is definitely for everybody's individual civil liberties. We, are staunch supporters of civil liberties for minority races. We're staunch supporters of gay rights. There's kind of a joke in the libertarian community that because we're also for like legalization of marijuana and things of that nature. So there's a joke in the libertarian community that I support my gay neighbors protecting their marijuana plants with their AR-15. So, kind of
Republicans don't like that.
Kind of sums up the whole party right there. We're very socially, we're very liberal.
Let people be who they want. Yeah.
Let individuals be individuals. Let everybody
like
be
that.
themselves. Okay, but at the same point in time, we want our Second Amendment rights and things of that nature. So
Right.
it is kind of hard for us libertarians to really vote for like a Republican, because you get them taking away a lot of those social liberties that
Right.
That people want, very anti-gay right and things of that nature. But at the same point in time, okay, it's real hard to vote for the Democrats who now want to take our AR-15s and things of that nature. So the Libertarian Party kind of blends the two together and says, what is liberty? What is the person's individual? What is the person's individualism? What is? We don't need whatever gives the person most ability to make the choice for themselves. That's where the Libertarian Party has a tendency to side on.
So those of you out there who are, well, I'm right, but I'm center right. Well, I'm left, but I'm center left. Well, that's what the Libertarian is. They're center right, center left. It's it's the things that the reason you're left is because of the social views, but you want to apply the physical views of the conservative. That's what makes you center left. Or you're physically responsible like the conservatives or the Republicans, and you see the socialist views of the left, so you're center left. Well, that's what the Libertarian Party is. It's that center viewpoint.
It is. It really is. Some things we take a little more, like fiscally, like taxation is theft is a common thing you'll hear amongst the Libertarian Party. We don't believe in a lot of government services, so we don't believe in having very, very high tax brackets and things of that nature. Get the government out of our lives, very fiscally conservative, okay? I would say it's more so than like the Republican Party even is. But at the same point in time, individuals' liberties, individuals' choices, people to make it. If you want to be gay, be gay. If you want to be a transsexual, be a transsexual. As long as you're not hurting anybody else, okay? There's nothing wrong with it, okay? And giving the rights to the people to make the decisions for themselves, okay? Like, I'm going to kind of bring this up, the baker that got forced to bake a cake for the gay couple, okay?
Makes no sense.
So the Libertarian Party would literally actually more side with the baker because it was his choice not
Forcing him.
because you're forcing him to do something.
So apparently that gay couple liked to eat and spit cake.
But at the same point in time, okay, the Libertarian would be very supportive of the gay couple getting married and also voicing it out loud on a lot of social media and things like that. If you're gay, do you really want to have a baker make a cake that doesn't support your lifestyle?
Right.
Go to somebody that supports your lifestyle. Right. So the Libertarian Party allows the individual to not bake a cake, but also allows the gay couple to, and hopefully he didn't spit in their cake.
But what do you do when, like, your parents made you go and clean your room, right? You're like,
you halfway did it.
Right? So now you're
enough to
right. So now or your parents or whatever, your teacher forced you to go do this thing for this person that you didn't want to do or don't like, whatever. Right? You did it to the least of your ability and probably spit in it. So now you're forcing this company. I'm sure they're going to follow their own regulations that they have to follow as far as cleanliness and stuff. They probably didn't spit in their cake or whatever, but they probably use a low quality flour. The eggs that they were gonna throw away, they use those instead.
Oh, it's a legitimate point. If
I didn't want to do it.
Right.
If the company doesn't want to do it, they're going to do it in their least. So, I mean, forcing people to do things through government regulation isn't a healthy thing, you know? And at the same point in time, not allowing the baker not to bake the cake, okay? When the baker isn't allowed to bake the cake, when he's not forced to, okay? It sends a message to the whole community. Right. And I hope everyday person in that community never went to that baker again. Right. You know,
I'll show them
if
I have a special cake.
Right.
Oh my God!
We brought up earlier that I was a biker. You know, and there's a lot of like bars and things like that that don't want bikers in it. They don't want the motorcycles up front. They don't want. And when I encounter those bars, I'm not like going to the government and saying they need to serve me. Okay. What I'm doing is I'm going on social media and I'm blasting everybody on my friends list and saying this bar won't serve me because I'm a biker. How dare they? And letting them feel the wrath. And I've actually watched a few bars close down after they started banning bikers from their bar. You know, I've literally watched a few go out of business, and it was to the joy of me. Thank you very much for not taking my money, you know. And then it forced me to go to a bar that did support us, and did support them. And that's who you should be supporting anyway, right? Because they're the ones that are supporting your community, right?
And I'm
correct, fellas. I myself have to depart. I got to get ready to go to the airport, so I come back home and see y'all. So I'm gonna be watching the show. I'm just not gonna be able to comment. You know, I might go ahead and send some comments in. But Turtle, man, I just want to tell you good stuff. I'm working on my censorship, so Turtle, good stuff. You know, I definitely appreciate you. You know, giving us 5 minutes of your time. I'm gonna be watching it. Nitty, I like what you're doing over there. Aaron, good moderator. We're going to definitely have to have like a little small debate thing going on one of the future episodes so we can have Turtle come back.
Absolutely.
I'm more than happy.
Just want to say one love, and I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to see my family real soon. All right?
All right, baby. Enjoy that anniversary.
Yeah. Happy anniversary, brother.
All right. Appreciate it, y'all.
All right, bro.
Thanks.
I'm definitely, I feel like Turtle hit on a bunch of things that, as me being a minority, man, that is like people that I spoke to just wasn't knowledgeable about libertarians. Like it's not racist at all. It's just free. It's for the people. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's a choice, not taking a choice. That's how I feel. You know what I mean? Don't force me to do anything. You know what I mean? That's completely how I am. So my views have been
skewed.
Yeah, you know, he just come in, woke me. He was talking, and I was just thinking like, wow, man, that's how I feel. Like, so I might know where I stand in my life so far in political.
You can apply all that when you apply liberty to everything in your life. And what gives me the choice to make decisions for myself? Mm-hmm. Okay, it doesn't matter where you're at, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a patron of a business, it doesn't matter where you're at. Okay, when you have the liberty to live your life as you see fit, no matter, and let's face it, some people's lives are heinous. Okay, I don't support like white power or anything like that, but I support a person to make that choice for himself.
Do what they want to
do.
Okay,
do what you want to do. You want to be ignorant? Go ahead and be ignorant. Okay, it doesn't matter to me as long as you're not infringing on me. Okay, right. And I think we've moved past the time in the world where if we left it up to the government, like a black man is not going to get served in any restaurant. I think that would be a ridiculous thing to assume. Right. That laws out there, if we gave people the ability to only allow what they wanted in the door, I think most businesses are going to find that they want money in the door. Right. And it doesn't matter what the person's skin color is, or what their gender is, or what their sexual orientation is. They want money, okay? And if you want to exclude a chunk of money from your life, That's your own dumb business practice, in my opinion. So go ahead and do it for yourself. But at the same point in time, don't force that philosophy on me. Does that make sense?
Controlled by money.
Right.
It's all controlled by money.
Well, we choose to be controlled by money.
The world is controlled by money and power. I mean, those are the two things that run the world. With power comes money.
So you remember back in the days, my grandfather has these. He has these. He could be what you consider a hippie, right? Him and his friends, right?
Yeah.
So would these guys be considered libertarians? Because what do you think?
You know what? It's really. I think that's a good point. A lot of what the hippies were preaching back in the 60s,
Right.
they really fell into a lot of libertarian philosophies. Don't hold me down, man. I don't want the man holding me down.
Right.
You know, the man is government.
Right.
So I don't want the man holding me down. But it's kind of funny because socialism kind of crept into their movement,
Right.
where they started doing this whole, we got to force everybody to contribute to a community pot kind of thing. And I think socialism kind of won out their philosophy over liberty, and them trying to force people into thinking as they do.
Right.
So
Right.
it ended up, it's kind of funny because people are for free speech as long as you speak what I
want you to say.
what I want you to say. Okay, that's not free speech. If all we're saying is what you want to hear, that's not free speech.
Right.
Free speech.
Yeah, Facebook.
Free speach is to be able to allow a person to say the things that you don't want to hear.
Yep.
Okay, and allow their voice still to be heard. Okay, it's not to protect the person that is out there speaking the morally just thing to say. It's saying we're going to allow the person to say the wrong thing. Okay, we're going to, and it all comes back. I'm not saying that hate is good. Okay, I'm not saying that at all. But freedom of speech is to have hate speech out there as well as the speech that we should all come together.
But
it's
hate is good because then you know what direction not to go.
What not to go, exactly.
Like right now, I don't know if the guy who owns the Denny's on 43rd and Peoria is a racist. I have no idea. But if I were to find out, I would definitely know not to go in that direction.
Exactly. So
I stand to believe right now, from being awoke now, that that's his choice.
Right.
Like whatever he chooses to do, you know what I mean? I believe that now, that not taking people's choice and don't force a person to do something they don't want to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Damn government.
Right.
It's true. And look at when I talk about taxation, it's forcing you to pay into a system that forces you. You are not morally superior. You're not anything by saying, let's raise the taxes to help the poor. Okay, that's not making you a good person. Okay, what a good person is somebody that reaches into his own pocket after the taxes have already been taken out and hands to the poor. That is the good person. That is doing the morally proper thing. And the Libertarian Party says, let's less taxes so you've got more of that money to go out and make to the contributions that you want. Right now, your dollar goes to the war machine that you might not support. It goes to abortions that you might not support. It goes to a lot of these things that you might not necessarily support, but you have no choice in the matter.
It goes to the drug czar.
Exactly. It goes to the drug czars. It goes to big pharma. It goes to all these places. Okay, and you're forced into it. Okay, with the Libertarian Party, less government, less taxes. The government is less in your life, and then it gives you that money back into your pocket to where now you can go put your money towards those things and those charities.
You can take care of your household, make sure it's secure, then go, okay, I want to give to, homeless for the holidays.
Exactly.
I want to give to Habitat for Humanity. I want to give to the Humane Society.
Exactly.
There's a lot of charities out there.
I want to give the wounded warriors.
There you
So
go.
I want to.
There's
There's a non-H.
There you go.
Hey man, this is really a good show, man.
Yeah.
Like I was at home talking. I was doing research and I was thinking about turtle and I was like, damn it, I never heard of this shit.
And there's more to tell, and you know, maybe we can have like so we're gonna have to do a part 2 because there's a lot more to be discussed, and we are a bit over on our time. So
I'm long-winded. So
yeah,
we could make this a 5-hour show, and I would probably
there's a lot to tell.
Part 2 would be great.
Okay,
I agree to that.
Okay,
some topics I want to that people ask me to ask. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we did hit even the cell phones and the Cox things, man. It was about choice that he was talking about. So please believe that, y'all. It was a necessary topic what we were talking about. But I voted in to have Turtle back. I love the conversation. I love his energy. So we can have a part 2.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, too, if anybody's got a specific question that didn't get answered here today, due to my long-windedness, if you go to the Facebook page, okay, and
hashtag the BW show, that'll bring us up on Facebook search, hashtag the BNW show.
if you make a comment asking a specific question about the Libertarian Party, I'm not talking about debating, I'm talking about maybe something that we didn't answer here today.
Right.
Okay, and I can do debates too, but as long as there's no name calling, come at me with that.
No
because
name
I'm going to
calling.
come
I
at you
will
with that.
erase you.
But if you ask a legitimate question about something that didn't get answered here today, I will go on and take a peek at the comments on this video, and I'll try to answer those questions for you.
And everybody that I spoke to that wanted me to ask a question that's on my computer, please don't comment on that. Leave that for part 2 because we will have Turtle back.
Yep.
You hear what I'm telling you, right? Like mild questions and no disrespect. This is a beautiful person, and do not disrespect. I will delete your comment. You will not be recognized. Understand that.
Heck, I'll even take that extra step. So we'll probably do this again in November.
Okay.
Right. So because we don't have a November scheduled yet, so we'll do this again in November. We're here at the South Mountain Public Library. Right. We rent out a room for our time. If you want to come sit live with us in the background,
That's so great.
right? And you want to ask a question in the middle of our comment, as long as I don't care if it's a respectable question. If you got a question,
Your choice.
you'd be respectable as far as our audience, who you are, you know, us as individuals. You have a respectable question, we'll have you ask it live in our show, and we'll give our comments and feedback.
That's great. That's
Right.
a wonderful idea. That takes us to another level.
Yep.
Starting having a live audience. That's what I want, man. And just want to give a round of applause for having Turtle here, man.
Thank you guys for having me. Thank you for having me, giving me a voice for the Libertarian Party.
Definitely.
I'm actually, I want to also state this real quick. I'm not like an official representative of the Libertarian Party. I'm just a registered Libertarian.
That make it even better.
Just like us. So Nitty's a black man. He's a representative of the
At
black
all.
man. I'm just a white man. I'm not a representative of the white man. I just have questions. We got questions. We brought out an individual.
Understood.
That's what we do. That's what the BNW show is all about. You have questions as a white man, as a black man, as a Hispanic, as a gay, as a straight, as
You're
a
welcome.
midget, as an
You're
overly
welcome.
tall person,
You're
as
welcome.
an anorexic, as a fatty. You have a question.
What the hell is a fatty? Him and his word. As a fatty. I'm a fatty. I'm a fatty.
I'm okay with that. No, definitely join us on the show. So last, the most important topic of the day.
I don't know the most important, but it's important for me, man. This dude sent me on a journey, man. So listen, I'm sitting with my wine. I'm writing on my script, and I put this Leonard Skinner on, right? Man, simple man.
Yep.
Got
That's
played.
Bell's song.
It got played like had 10 times, right?
Yeah.
Cause like it reminded me of like my mom. I was there with my mom when she passed from lung cancer, and some things she said to me.
Yeah.
And it just reminded me
Yep.
that, you know what I'm saying?
Good
It was
song.
like, it was just so deep, man. Like their songs, the writers, I mean, you just put, I love your assignments, man, because they just put me on a whole nother journey, right?
Yeah.
And don't lie about this. Flybird, right?
Freebird.
What I say?
Freebird.
What I said? Flybird.
Flybird.
Freebird?
Yeah,
Freebird.
Freebird.
I found myself doing the most whitest shit I have ever did. I'm doing air guitar. I don't know. I don't know. Might be. If I'm racist, not saying. I don't mean to say that, but I'm just saying. I never seen no black guys I've been around ever just air guitar. You just this. It's just this part, right?
Yeah.
That my sons was doing it too. He was hitting, right? I was like, wow, man. I just think I want to learn how to play guitar, man.
Yeah.
Those are some seriously great solos.
Yep.
Yeah, man, it's great solos, man. I really appreciate it, and it was written great. The music was great, man, and it just flowed remarkable, man.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just something I'm gonna put in my playlist from now on, man.
Good.
We'll put in my playlist.
Good.
From now on, man.
So I had to really listen to some hardcore music this week. I had Hootie and the Blowfish.
That was not. Oh my god!
But actually, for me, it is because I am not. Even still, and I've never been a very big fan of Hootie the Blowfish. I don't know why. Something about their music, to me, they sound very generic. They're very
generic.
Yeah, like I found myself doing some really white people stuff because it was very generic. I was eating marshmallows with mayonnaise on my French fries. I'm like, how white am I? Listen to Hootie the Blowfish, you know. But I listened to an album that I haven't heard before, which was the dog one, I forget. And there was one song I actually came across I liked. It was the Center Stone. That was a great song. It was the one about whoever's the first to throw the center stone or something like that. I forget the name. But I actually enjoyed that song. It was well done. It was well written. Darius actually enunciated in the song, so I could understand what he was saying. The music was enjoyable, so I did like that one song.
I didn't even know they had another album besides that one.
Exactly.
Okay, so between 1 and 5, 1 being the last, 5 being the greatest, what do you give it?
I give him a 2.
I give him a 1.
Okay,
and I
good.
gave him a sign.
Yeah, they give us that's good. Okay.
I just wanted to see what you was gonna think of it. I was like, why do they sound like they're trying so hard?
Right. That's what good. They're very generic. I was like, they've always been that way. I'm like, their lyrics are generic. They sound more like limericks than they do like song